Join the team.
Hey team, this is McGuire Review, and today we have another special thing, which is FIZBAN'S Treasury of Dragons. Now, this is currently on pre-order, so you can't get your hands on this just yet. It will be coming up very soon. I think the release on this is in the month of June. We're here near the end of May, so we're getting very close to being able to get this sweet set. Now, I do have a preview box here. They call it the marketing preview box of a number of the models. It says here set 22 of their releases. And then there's a couple really cool models that we have here, some larger models, and specifically the Elder Brain Dragon. This one is very popular and has sold out already on most sites for pre-order. I think just because it's a very, very unique dragon sculpt. I mean, the Brain Dragon, it's just a very, very unique dragon sculpt and model. So this one is very hot, and again, it has sold out in most places. If you can get your hands on this one, that's kind of where it's at. And then we do have the awesome Draco Hydra here that is kind of, it's a really cool concept. If you can see there in the picture, and we'll get these all out of the box, look at them up close on the mini cam, but it looks very much like Tiamat, if you look at it. Tiamat has 5 heads. This sculpt has 6. It has a couple of the same, has 2 greens and 2 whites, 1 blue and 1 red. And even those head sculpts are very, very similar, if not exactly the same. They may not be exactly the same. They're very, very similar to, they're smaller, obviously, to the larger Tiamat that they just released not too long ago. That giant one, we had that on the channel as well. The reason why they look so similar is because in all the arcane magic experiments and whatnot, they were trying to harness the power of Tiamat and replicate the power of Tiamat, and that's how you got your Draco Hydra. I want to say Hydra Draco. Your Draco Hydra. Okay? So another really, really cool sculpt that we'll get out of the box. So I'm going to get these opened up, and then we'll hit them with the miniature cam and start talking about them up close. So, Tiny Bone Shiv of Death, do your work. And like magic, here we are. Oh, this set is so awesome. I mean, if you're into RPGs and you're into Dungeons and Dragons, the actual dragons in the sculpts and the sets and the stories are, you know, they're super epic. Right? Like, when a new dragon sculpt comes out, you're always like, oh, I gotta have that, right? Gotta throw that at the party. So to have an entire kind of, you know, set come out that's dedicated to the dragonborn, dedicated to the dragons of D&D, it's kind of something special. And, you know, if... You know, maybe you're not interested in some of the larger, you know, because some of these carry a little bit more on the price, right? For these, like, more unique, like, individual sculpted, individual packaged pieces. Sometimes you can spend, you know, what you would spend on a couple, 2, maybe 3 of these medium-sized individual packaged sculpts. You can get yourself, you know, a full brick booster. For me, in this set, you know, I think there's going to be people that are going to say, I got to have it all. I got to have all the Fizban stuff that comes out, right? I got to have it all. I got to have the collection. And that's awesome, right? There's others that are going to say, you know what? I just have enough money to get a few booster packs, or maybe I'll just get one of the really unique sought-after pieces. But for me, I think it really comes down to, like, having all these little individual booster pack models. I just really think that they've done such a great job with what you're going to be able to get in these boosters with this particular set. I mean, all the way to having, and, you know, it'd be interesting to see, because some of these are kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say they're flimsy. They're not, these are made a little different than the actual gem dragons we've had on the channel in the past. We've done an emerald gem dragon. We've done the sapphire gem dragon, and here it is here. as well, a much smaller model. And it is made a little bit different. It's more pliable. So, being in those booster boxes, it's not going to get cracked. It's not as, the larger one is a little bit more brittle. You got to be careful with it. Where this is made of a little bit of a different material, but still looks very, very similar to the full scale one. Like, look how transparent those wings are. The wings look fantastic. It's got the little stars on it as well, the same. But this is the young sapphire dragon. This is 45 of 46, so it's obviously going to be one of those most rare pools that you're going to be able to get in a booster box. But wow, think about opening up a booster box and getting that model, Just awesome, right? Here's some other ones here. I haven't seen the young moonstone dragon. These are 26 of 46, so it's not going to be super, super rare. But I love how they've done the wings there with kind of that crystal look, kind of see-through. It's got some greens and some teals and blues. I love the, kind of the hair from the chinny chin there that they've got sort of on the front and down the neck and the chin. Really, really awesome facial sculpt with that sort of point that comes out, right? That's kind of coming off the top of the head there with that horn. Just what a beautiful sculpt and design there on that moonstone. So awesome. That's so cool. Okay, let's grab another one here. This is our young crystal dragon, which I haven't seen. I'd love to see him do a moonstone or a crystal dragon, maybe in the gems. Maybe this is a little hint of what's to come, right? We've seen the sapphire, and we got ourselves a little gem dragon here. This is a little emerald gem dragon, but this one is a wormling, so it's an emerald dragon wormling, 13 of 46. So that one's going to be, you're going to be able to get that one, I think, regularly throughout the packs as well, right? So we're seeing two of the gems that have already been released in the more, larger scale dragons that we've had on the channel, and then we've got these two here. So maybe it's a little bit of a tease of what's to come. We got Fizban himself right here, right? So Fizban the Fabulous is what this one's called. 33 of 46. Holding kind of a little canary yellow, I think it's a canary, little canary yellow bird. Absolutely love the look there with that hat and that green cloak. I love that they went with that green. It looks so good, and it's a rich, rich poppy green. It's not really a dark earthy green. It's really a rich poppy green. Love that. And it looks so good with that little yellow bird there that he's holding. So awesome. And you'll see there's a number of other sculpts that most of the other ones are dragonborn type sculpts. Just a lot of really cool draconian dreadnought, man. That's so cool. There, we got a little, what do we got here? This is a green guard drake. So a nice little drake here. We've seen drakes in prior sets. This one I thought was really interesting as well. Very unique. A dragon blood ooze. So that's a dragon blood ooze. How cool and unique is that? I don't have any dragon blood oozes. It's a first for something like that. Very cool. And you can see kind of the little dragon shape that they've kind of sculpted into the ooze. Not going overboard with it, so it still feels like it's ooze, but really, really unique design and cool shape for that miniature. And look at this. Just, that looks brutal. This is a horde mimic. So it just looks like a giant mound of like cash, a giant mound of treasure. I could only imagine, as a DM, putting out maybe like a nice big, hunk of treasure if you had a miniature for that, or you've made something for that, or maybe just a big treasure chest, and when the party opens it gets replaced with this horde mimic. There's just a lot of cool stuff you can do with something like this. So I love this model as well. All right, so that's all the kind of the individual pieces, and then we'll get into the brain dragons. This is the elder brain dragon. This is a very unique sculpt, and I think this is the reason why this one has been so popular and it's really kind of sold out on most of the sites, is just because it carries a very unique lore, a very unique look. It's basically a dragon that its brain is kind of on the outside of its body, and it's, obviously a highly intelligent dragon with lots of telepathy type skills and abilities, and just really, really unique. I mean, and you can see the piece here on the top sort of does come off, so lots of things you can use with that, maybe in combat, maybe in interactions, like it's got this, you know, shell that protects its brain, and after so much damage, the shell comes off, and now you can actually damage it. I mean, there's lots of stuff you can do with that, but I thought that was cool that they designed it that way, that it had kind of that little pink translucent piece that overlaid the brain and capped back on there. Okay, it just lightly snaps on there. So that's pretty cool. And then we do have our Draco Hydra. Again, we talked a little bit about this early on. It does have the 2 green heads, the 2 whites, the 1 blue, and the 1 red. Now, the blue is going to be very, very similar to what's on our Tiamat, and the greens are similar and the white's similar. The red is a completely different sculpt. The red-headed dragon on the Tiamat, the mouth was open pretty much all the way, just kind of snarling. It was totally open, where it is closed on this particular sculpt. These, however, do look very, very similar to the sculpt that's on the Tiamat that we saw not too long ago. It still has a very unique look. Obviously, you can see the color is very different. You know, Tiamat is mainly kind of brownish golds and reds, where this dragon really utilizes a lot of those kind of whitish green and teal colors. I do really like the tone they went with here, and I like the tail. You'll see the tail is a very unique styled tail that you probably have not seen before on any dragon sculpt. I don't think, I may have one smaller sculpt that does something somewhat like this, but it was always like just tiny little barbs off the tail, versus more of this one has like these longer like tendrils. So that's a really unique, and it's also kind of unique that they sculpt and posed it like going this way, right? So it's almost like it's swooping back like around versus just like flying through, because if it was just flying through, like more than likely this would be out to the side like this, where being tucked up in there like that, kind of coming at you, almost like tendrils coming out at you, was a really cool sculpt and design choice, I thought. They also did a nice amount of sculpting right here, which I can appreciate, and it looks really good because it's almost like this weird area of like I don't want this to be gross, but this weird area of like wrinkled skin that's sort of like at the heads are sort of like coming out of, right? So almost like the head could retract back into to that area. This is pretty cool. So I don't know. You can check that on the miniature cam. Tell me what you think. But I just thought it was kind of a unique sort of design and styling that I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen before. And it does look pretty cool the way that it's sculpted and designed. So I kind of picked on that when I saw it, because sometimes we've had some sculpts where the sculpting, particularly right here, has been lacking, and they just like said okay, and they just nailed it this time, right, with like what they got going on here. So you can check that out on the miniature cam, but I thought that was interesting, and I think it is really well done for the look of this entire piece. The other thing that really jumped out to me on this sculpt was the thick veining that is in the parts of the wing. Now, normally they will do some sculpting and some veining in the wings, but I thought this time it was really like overemphasized. Like they got veiny with these wings, and I think that's also a really cool look coming out of this, part here. It just sort of, it kind of brings the whole area to life. Like it adds a lot of life, I think, to the wings, and specifically the way that they have the veins kind of coming out. The other thing that I really liked was, normally you would see, a finger, you can call it a finger, but like a claw or something coming out of here, or a bit like a couple claws that it's not like a hand, but it's on like a small piece that's kind of bendable that, you know, that the dragon can use as it walks if it wants to. Where this is sort of like these spikes that are just coming out of these areas here. And two of mine are broken. I just noticed that. At first I thought it was designed that way, but I just noticed they are cracked off. So one of two things, if for some reason you do get the sculpt and you have that problem, it would not look bad at all to just sort of paint that with a little bit of... that's supposed to come off. That actually just pops on. It wouldn't be too bad to just paint that with a little bit of teal paint. Or just leave it like it's a cracked off bone and it's sort of black interior. That would look cool as well. Or, you know, I bet you those little pieces are actually in that box or in the plastic. I really didn't look when I pulled it out. Other than that, everything else is in mint condition and looks good. All of these spikes are on, no problem. Okay? All right. That is Fizban's set here that I have. Obviously, there are more sculpts than this. This was the marketing preview pack here. And these are two of the standalone packaged miniatures. Awesome set, team. I don't know. This is where my money would be. I think they got a number of sets they're releasing across a number of different IPs. This one, it's hard. It's hard to not say you're in on the Fizban. Because of the unique dragon sculpts and all the cool stuff that come with this particular set. It really is awesome. Okay? So, that's what we're going to say for Fizban. We are having a Fizban Silver Edition of Beetle and Grimm's video coming up very soon as well. So if you're into Fizban, stay around because we're going to look at an amazing RPG box set to run you through the entire adventure. Okay? So hit that like, hit the subscribe below to join the team. Keep rolling them crits. This has been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.